I'm now being joined from Isuofa, Anambra State, by Arise correspondent Emeka Monye, who is standing by with Professor Victor Adetula, a professor of international relations and development studies and chairman, Election Analysis Center for Democracy and Development. Good morning. Good morning. Can you hear us,
Good morning,
Emeka?
and please. Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear. We are at polling unit 013, where the governor is expected to cast his vote. And any moment from now, the governor will be driving in to perform his franchise, which is voting at this election. But before it comes, I have the director, the chairman of the Center for Democracy and Development, CDD, Professor Victor Adetula, who joins me live to share some thoughts about what he has observed and his assessment so far about this election. Professor, good afternoon. You're on a live television. Talk to us. You are one of the major observers in today's election. What's your observation and assessment so far about the conduct of this poll?
Well, so far there have not been any negative incidents, and one can talk about relatively secure voting environment. But the issue we have raised, even in our pre-assessment about voters' apathy, still remain. We've been to a number of polling units, and the turnout is not quite impressive. But in this present voting unit, which is labeled by the people as the governor's voting center, it is surprisingly impressive, and one can understand because one, I would say it is strategically located because the location is the community building, and you can see that everything's so organized. Even the aged were carefully taken care of. There are there are tarpaulin outside for people to stay, organized in such a way that women are first and other people outside. So you can understand, and I asked a number of people around, and they said even before now, there have been massive mobilization of the community members. So to the people, this is their project. This is not what we obtain in other voting centers.
Okay, now you talked about voter turnout and in some of the polling units you visited, and were you able to, by chance, speak with some of them and understand why this kind of low turnout in some of the polling units that you visited? Were you able to have a private interaction with them?
Yeah, well, and some of the places we've been to, you see lack of interest. And that we can relate with the political parties, some other relevant agencies that are supposed to have engaged the people in terms of mobilization. That didn't take place like what we observe in this place. So it's not a question of fear. It's not a question of lack of security. It's a question of an environment that does not provide for competition. There are no options. So the people feel, some of them feel where the issues already decided, the outcome very decided. And this will go a long way in affecting what may turn out to be the pattern of governance beyond the election period.
Okay, in terms of the deployment of the tools, especially with the beavers by INEC, would you say INEC has made some significant improvement in terms of deployment of logistics as well as other technical tools like the beavers?
Yes, one will say yes, relative improvement, and that also can be explained because it's possible because it's a by-election, and it's possible for INEC to deploy the weight of its resources, both in terms of manpower and material. 6 state elections.
Okay, Prof, before I leave you, What are your expectations? Are we likely going to see the same outcome, the same process as we head towards the voting, as we enter towards the voting process? Are we expecting to see a different outcome in today's election?
Well, one is not a soothsayer, but it's not likely that there will be fundamental change from what we have obtained before. And for us at CDD, our concern is what happened beyond the election day. To what extent will they have implication for governance? Will this confer legitimacy on whosoever wins? And will whosoever will be able to carry the people along in addressing the interests of the people?
Now, for the electoral umpire, INEC, what suggestions would you be giving them going forward? Because this seems to be one election they will be conducting, especially the chairman himself, who is using this as a springboard to test how well he's able to organize an election in this part of the world. What advice?
This election is significant for the new leadership of INEC in terms of providing opportunity to do a lot of learning from this particular one, both in terms of what should be the future role for political actors and what the security people can take home and improve on.
Okay, thank you very much, Prof, for joining us on Horizon. You're still on to the live cross here in Ethiopia, where the governor and all the voters will be casting their vote in today's election, an election that has generated a lot of hype, concern, and even fears. And as we speak to you, we can vote. This is the 7th off-cycle election since the 2023 general election. Of course, the Anambra election is not different from other polls. And I believe I have also one who is here to share thoughts with me. Is from the United Nations. His name is Jim Okolo. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Let's get to meet you. And why are you here? What are your observations?
Hello, I'm the national coordinator of Novel Perspective International. It's an organization charged with global electoral management and diplomacy. So we are here to perform our statutory exercise.
Okay. Can you be specific in terms of so far so good? How many of the local government areas you've been able to touch, and what did you observe? What flaws, what challenges, and how would you rate those centers that you've been to?
Well, I can say we visited a couple of local governments. Like we visited Oka, we visited Agolo, and we're here now. So so far, I would say the conduct has been very, very satisfactory. As in the security agencies and the electoral management body, I think they're doing better than what I've seen before, before this election. So I can give them a plus for this.
Compared to 2021 turnout?
Well, I can't predict that, but with what I'm seeing here, I think there's been a lot of voter education for the turnout to be this impressive. Because I've moved around, I've seen that there's an enthusiasm, voters' enthusiasm. So they want to come out. So perhaps maybe because of the stability they've seen and the security around. So I think that will aid them to come around to cast the ballot.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. James Okolo, for sharing your thoughts on Arise TV. And that is how much we can take with Mr. John Okolo. He has shared his thoughts on about. Back to you in the studio.
Thank you very much, Emeka, for the brilliant update. And we look forward to hearing more about the elections as the day goes by. Thank you very much.